Hello, hello. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a vulnerable one. Not only because I'm going to be sharing some pretty personal information and photos and videos and stuff like that, but even more because I'm going to be sharing a very specific plan that I'm going to be doing. And by me telling you, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it, you're going to have the power to really critique me and see if I'm doing it and hold me accountable. That's a lot of pressure for me. First of all, if you're new here, I am Jen and I am delighted to meet you. For about a year and a half, I followed a carnivore diet, which means I ate nothing but animal foods. For me, that included mostly meat, a lot of eggs, and also a little bit of dairy. I did that because I'd had some chronic health issues that I was trying to heal, and it was remarkable what the diet did for me. I learned so much. I had so much healing. But for the last little bit of time, I've been struggling with some things. Like I've actually been gaining a little bit of weight and I've not been sleeping all that great. So for a couple of months now, I've changed some things up and I've been experimenting to see what I can do that will still allow me to get all of those health benefits, but without some of the consequences. So this last 2 months, I've been trialing and erroring with some different plant foods that I've added to my diet. Some things I've learned have been really great, some not so good. I need to definitely stay away from those foods, but it's allowed me to sort of have this trial, this experiment for a couple months to figure out, hey, this is what I do really well with, this is not so good. And I feel like now with that power, with that knowledge, I can sort of create something and go forward to achieve my very specific goals. By the time you actually see this video, I suppose a week or two will have passed, but I'm filming on October 31st of 2023, and I'm planning to start my new regimen tomorrow, November 1st. And coincidentally, my 40th birthday is exactly 6 months later on May 1st. So I feel like it's a really good time for me to start. It's a good amount of time for me to kind of slowly lose weight. And it's just, a really great sort of goal at the end of that my 40th birthday, and I'll hopefully be somewhere tropical and I can feel really good in this body that I've worked really hard to achieve. I hopped on the scale this morning just to see exactly where I'm starting, and I weighed 186.6. I'm 5'8", so that definitely puts me in the overweight category. I know I carry my weight reasonably well, but still, that's quite a bit overweight. I also had a DEXA scan 2 months ago and found that my body fat percentage is 35%, which is reasonably high as well. I'd like to bring that down. So my ultimate goal is to lose 25 to 30 pounds over the next 6 months. And I want to make sure that most of that weight is coming from fat, not my muscle. I don't really care where my body fat percentage ends up, but I guess just in my brain, under 30% seems pretty good. So here's what I'm going to do to achieve this goal. I'm going to continue to eat a mostly meat diet. And when I say meat, I mean meat and eggs. So most of my calories, most of my nourishment, most of my vitamins and minerals will come from those very nutrient-dense animal-based foods. I think that's the best way to go. But I'm also going to include a little bit of plant foods, such as green beans and some ferments, because I really do feel my best with those things. It helps me to cut calories a little bit, and it also helps with my sleep, my blood sugar regulation, and chronic cramps at night that I've been getting for over a year. I'll also be starting out including a fair amount of dairy, mostly raw milk, but also heavy cream in my coffee. I may reconsider the dairy as I go, depending on how I'm achieving my goals, but for now, I'm going to include it. I'm going to use an online calculator to figure out my BMR, my basal metabolic rate, and my TDEE, which is total daily energy expenditure. And so I'm going to actually do that right now on my phone, and I'll play for you a screen recording so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to Google NASM TDEE calculator. I've looked at a few, and this one was one that I thought was decent. Some ads are going to pop up and it's annoying, but we'll work through that. So the first thing I've got to put in is my sex, my weight. I don't think it'll do decimals, so I'm going to round up to 187. Maybe it will. Let's try 186.6. There we go. We'll see if it takes it. And I am 5'8". I have to put my name. I learned before that if you don't put your name in, it doesn't work. And my age is 39 years old. So it says that my basal metabolic rate is 1,572 calories. That means without doing anything, if I just lay and watch TV all day, I do nothing else, I'll still burn 1,572 calories per day just by being alive. Next, we will look at the TDEE, the total daily energy expenditure. So you can put what your actual activity level is in here, but I'm going to keep it at sedentary. Even though I'm not sedentary, I am exercising and I have a fairly active job, but I don't want this calculator to take into account calories I'm burning. I want it to just tell me basically how many calories I need to eat each day. And then when I exercise, I'll add that in separately. We'll touch on that in a moment. So I'm going to keep it as sedentary and click next. Oh, and now I have to put in my goal weight. So my current weight, 186.6. My goal weight, I'm going to put in 155. It's really somewhere between 155 and 160, but let's do 155 for now. And I want my goal date to be May 1st, my birthday, 6 months after starting tomorrow, but it only lets you go out 180 days. So we're going to have to keep the goal date at April 28th. Okay, now it tells you what your macros should be as far as how much protein, carbs, and fat you should eat. And I'm basically going to ignore that because I'll be eating very few carbs, but I am going to use the actual calorie data. Let's see if there's anything helpful on this page. It doesn't look like it. So I'm gonna just go to calculate. And this tells me that my TDEE, the amount of calories that I burn from being alive and from sedentary activity, is 1,887 calories. So given that my goal weight is 155 pounds, that means I need to lose 31 something pounds. It tells me that my daily caloric intake should be 1,608 calories. Now, I'm going to be exercising during this too. My plan is to do 3 days per week of weightlifting, and then the other days of the week, 30 minutes of something. So every day I have to exercise for at least 30 minutes. I just personally do best when it's like every day you've got to do something versus 5 days a week and then you skipped a couple days. And anyway, it's just easier for me to stay on a roll. So I'm going to exercise every single day, 3 days a week lifting, and the other 4 could just be walking. But some days it'll probably be other things that I want to do, like go to a spin class or do some yoga or sprint or something like that. I'm just not going to hold myself accountable to exactly what it needs to be. And I'm going to give myself some wiggle room with adding those exercise calories back in. So I found for myself that sometimes when I'm eating low calorie, like 1,600, my energy is very, very low. So to maintain an active lifestyle is really difficult. So if I burn 500 calories one day exercising, I'm going to give myself the ability to add up to 500 calories back. Now that may be something that I'll adjust as I go, but for now, my plan is to do that. So for the next 6 months, I'm going to be tracking a lot of things really closely, mostly for me, but also partly for you so I can share this kind of information. I already track so many things, but the main thing I'm going to go out of my way to track daily is my food intake. I want to be really precise with calories and amounts of food and all that good stuff. So that's going to require some work for me, and I don't love it, but I'm going to do it for this next 6 months. Other things that I already measure passively, basically without trying, just because of the way I have my life set up, is my blood sugar. I have a continuous glucose monitor here. So I'll be tracking how all my food affects me from the blood sugar standpoint. And I'll also be tracking my bowel movements, my ovulation and periods, my exercise, my sleep, my bowel movements, if I didn't already say that, all of those things. So I'll be able to give you a pretty good idea of how these changes are affecting me from multiple areas of my life. And at the end of the 6 months, I will be redoing some lab tests, maybe some hormone tests, and I'll do a DEXA scan again so I can know exactly what my body composition is and of weight that I lose, how much of that was muscle and how much was fat. And I will do a monthly check-in right here every single month for 6 months to let you know exactly how it's going, what I'm doing, what I'm changing, what I'm learning, just all of the things so that you can learn right alongside me if you've been in a similar struggle. The last thing I'm going to do is video myself in the clothes that I'm wearing now without the jacket so you can see a little more exactly what my body looks like at the moment, as well as in my swimsuit. And those are things that I'll do from time to time so we can see the changes together. I find sometimes it's easy to get discouraged when trying to lose weight when the scale's not moving, but pictures, man, they can really help because you can see a lot of good changes. I also should probably take some measurements, but I don't have a measuring tape other than the metal one that is not really gonna work for measuring my waist. So we're just gonna do photos and videos today, and I'll put those here. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been around for a while, thank you for following me as I'm trialing and erroring and doing all the things. I hope that this will be helpful for me, but also so helpful for you. So if this interests you and you've not already, please subscribe. You will definitely see more of this coming soon. And I'd love it if you would like this video and just allow more people to see it by interacting, maybe even in the comments. Have a lovely day, and I will see you next month.